Eric Sheridan with Goldman Sachs. Please proceed.
Thanks so much for taking the question. I'll just ask one that's building on Mark's questions there. Andy, when you think about the news that came out of China over the last couple of weeks and think longer term about bending the cost curve lower with AI, I understood the commentary around CapEx for 2025. But when you look at where you sit in the industry, the move towards open source, elements of custom silicon, how do you think about bending the cost curve and either speeding up or amplifying time deployment to market, or possibly, higher returns on capital for AI? Thanks so much.
Yeah. Well, I'd say a few things because there are a few questions built into that. First of all, I think like many others, we were impressed with what DeepSeek has done. I think in part impressed with some of the training techniques, primarily in flipping the sequencing of reinforcement learning being earlier and without the human in the loop. We thought that was interesting ahead of the supervised fine-tuning. We also thought some of the inference optimizations they did were also quite interesting. For those of us who are building frontier models, we're all working on the same types of things. We're all learning from one another. I think you have seen and will continue to see a lot of leapfrogging between us. There is a lot of innovation to come. And, I think, if you run a business like AWS and you have a core belief like we do, that virtually all the big generative AI apps are going to use multiple model types, and different customers are going to use different models for different types of workloads, you're going to provide as many leading frontier models as possible for customers to choose from. And that's what we've done with services like Amazon Bedrock. And it's why we moved so quickly to make sure that DeepSeek was available both in Bedrock and in SageMaker, faster than you saw from others. And we already have customers starting to experiment with that. I think one of the interesting things over the last couple of weeks is sometimes people make the assumptions that if you're able to decrease the cost of any type of technology component, in this case, we're really talking about inference, that somehow it's going to lead to less total spend in technology. And we have never seen that to be the case. We did the same thing in the cloud, where when we launched AWS in 2006, where we offered S3 object storage for 15 cents a gigabyte and compute for 10 cents an hour, which of course is much lower now, many years later. People thought that people would spend a lot less money on infrastructure technology. And what happens is companies will spend a lot less per unit of infrastructure. And that is very, very useful for their businesses. But then they get excited about what else they could build that they always thought was cost prohibitive before. And they usually end up spending a lot more in total on technology once you make the per unit cost less. And I think that is very much what's going to happen here in AI, which is the cost of inference will substantially come down. What you heard the last couple of weeks out of DeepSeek is a piece of it, but everybody is working on this. I believe the cost of inference will meaningfully come down. I think it will make it much easier for companies to be able to infuse all their applications with inference and with generative AI. And I think it's going to, if you run a business like we do, where we want to make it as easy as possible for customers to be successful building customer experiences on top of our various infrastructure services, the cost of inference coming down is going to be very positive for customers and for our business.
And the next question is from